Hello and welcome. This year, with the creation of this channel, I told myself I was going to try to review any new releases from any artists on my radar. Now, I don't listen to as much music as some people because partly my time is stretched between so many different forms of entertainment, and I'm just extremely picky. Any music streaming app that I listen to that tries to recommend music to me, I typically only enjoy about 20% of their recommendations, and half that is usually stuff that I already know that they forgot that I listened to or just don't care, I guess. So now that I've established my slim field of musical view, let's jump into the first release from a band on my radar. First Aid Kit's new album, Ruins. And full disclosure before we start, I've never actually listened to a full album from First Aid Kit and considered it and judged it as a whole. My sister had the CDs, so I had sat down and listened to them once and picked my favorites. So my opinion of them is probably more than it would have been if I'd been aware of all their songs. Months ago, reading early comments the Soderbergh sisters made about their upcoming album, they said it would be more electric than previous releases. And frankly, the first track, Rebel Heart, is the best fulfillment of that promise I could have ever hoped for. It's easily my favorite track on the album. I love all the new sounds it brings to the table. The whole thing feels huge with a great sense of growing momentum throughout. The second song is also my second favorite track. It's a shame this album peaked so early. Okay, that joke was bad, but this was the only single that really caught my ear much. Even though it is all about spending the night, with my good old Christian worldview, I feel as though I should mention that. I also really like the music video for this song, and I tend not to like music videos very much, usually for various reasons, but I think this one flows with the song well and has a lot of creativity. Now moving on to the track Fireworks. It's another single from the album. It's alright. It has a nice 1950s lullaby vibe going for it, but I can take it or leave it. Next up is Postcard, and it takes a full dive back into First Aid Kit's traditional classic country inspirations. And being that I don't really find myself listening to this one much. Alternatively, the song after it is To Live a Life, which is possibly the most mellow song on the entire album, but for some reason I do find myself wanting to go back to this one. It's a nice little sweet song. Then we have My Wild Sweet Love, which is definitely a standout here. It features a little more of the newer sounds, and I wish I had more to say about it, but I couldn't really think of anything. It just sounds good. And Distant Star is one that I think is growing on me. It's definitely my favorite of the more traditional songs. I like the last line where she says, I think I'm getting used to the silence now, when the instruments goes quiet before she says the silence now. It's an old trick, but I think it still works. Now for the track which the album is named, Ruins. I think it's just alright. It's about on the borderline for my tastes, but I'll give it a chance and listen to it more. Following that up is the track Hymn of Her Dress, which the sense here, if I'm not mistaken, is of a drinking song, or a sing-along you'd hear in a pub. The group singing as the song closes sounds pretty wasted, and I pray to God that I'm not wrong, but that's just what it sounds like to me. Putting that aside, I don't really see myself revisiting this one much. And the final track, Nothing Has to Be True, is one that I will listen to more. I don't think it's fantastic, but it's solid. It does drop an S word, but it's not unlike First Aid Kit to curse. They have dropped F words before. Even though I watch more movies with language and objectionable content, I don't let much in my music. For some reason, it's a lot more sacred to me. I'll usually let a song with an S word or two slip into my library, but that's where it stops. I've kept that boundary for years and I don't plan on letting that up. Now keep in mind that I don't listen to classic country music, or any country music for that matter. And since First Aid Kit's main inspiration for writing music is traditional classic country and folk music, there's always going to be a little bit of a disconnect that keeps me from being on board with all of their songs, aside from the language, of course. But when the Soderberghs put their own modern spin on the genre, They make it timeless, and they bring it to a place where I can really enjoy it, like Rebel Heart was this time around. That's why I'm giving Ruins a 6.5 out of 10. There are no bad songs on this album, just a few that fell outside the lines of the genres that I find myself enjoying. And I hope you enjoyed the video, because I'm going to be back with a lot more of these. If the forecast for the next couple months are any indication, there will be a lot of new albums I'll be watching out for this year. It should be lots of fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because we would really appreciate it and it would help us out. And do your best to stay warm this winter. See ya.